Hello and welcome to the Queen Slayer. It's your girl, TheMadQueen. And there's only 5 days until the game globally releases, which means I'm going to be doing a video on 5 tips for free-to-play players. If you have not already pre-registered for the game in the mobile app store in either iOS or Google Play, I will leave a link in the description below that you can use to actually go ahead and go pre-register for the game. So tip number 1 is going to be actually a pretty simple one, and that's going to be managing your friends. Make sure that you have active friends because you get these points right here. They're friendship points, which can be used to actually summon in the game, and you can only get those from doing the receive and gift option here. And then you can go into your recruitment and do your friendship. And as you see up here in the top, I currently have 6 of those. I just did a few summons, but this is a very, very good way to be able to do summons. And you can actually do 3 summons a day if you have a full list of 30 active people in your friends. And for my tip number 2, it's actually going to be focused on the shop. So when you're a free-to-play player, you really are going to have to focus very specifically on what you're buying in the shop, which means, and I know it's very tempting to buy these. As a free-to-play player, you need to not buy these. Focus definitely on anything that's going to cost you gold, because you're going to have an abundance of gold. And you want to be able to save those diamonds for other things. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean that you couldn't buy one of these every few days or once a week or something like that, because you definitely can. I'm not saying never buy the things with diamonds here, but like this is something that you want to use your diamonds to spend on, because this is what you're going to use to upgrade all of your equipment. And buying these, because this is going to help you upgrade the exclusives of your heroes as well. So these are all of the things that you want to focus on buying, more so than the shards, unfortunately, whenever you're making all of your purchases in the store. Tip number 3 is going to be actually focusing on one hero at a time. This is something that I made a huge mistake of for quite some time, the first couple of months of playing, actually, because I had all these heroes and I wanted to try out a bunch of them, but unfortunately, you can't grow very quickly if you're going to do that. So what I started doing probably a month ago was picking 5 heroes to really focus in on and using all of the resources I get specifically to level those heroes up. So my exclusives, I focused one hero at a time, and I like to move on. But I focus on Serena because she's incredible, and you can obtain her just through logging into the game. But I have focused all of my forging on my Serena. And when it comes to talents as well, I've definitely chose to max out all of her talents as well. This is going to go for most of the heroes that I have here. I've done the same with Falvia, with my Sorietta, with Taylor, and with Omar. So these are all heroes that can really be used in almost every place in the game. So that's something else you want to look at when you're going to focus on 5 heroes specifically that you're going to take all the way up. You want to choose heroes that you're going to be able to take into the late game. And don't be like me and try to level too many people at once. So, and also what's really nice is there's this inherent right here. So you only have to pick 5 people to actually put XP into, and then you can plug in all of your other heroes here, and they'll inherit the level of the lowest hero that you have on your main 5, which is very nice because you don't have to worry about putting tons of XP into all of these heroes, because that would really take a long time. Which is actually going to bring me to tip number 4. Tip number 4 is going to be over gene hybrids. I cannot stress to you how important it is to really use these gene hybrids very selectively. Okay, let me go ahead and kind of show you what I mean. And I actually didn't really figure this out either until probably 2 weeks ago. And I was really using my gene hybrids wrong. And of course, that's how I'm able to give you guys tips, is because I've messed up a ton. So I mess up a lot so that I can give you guys these tips. But whenever you're using your gene hybrids, first of all, only use your gene hybrids on triple S heroes. And I will also say, as a free-to-play player, there's no reason that you can't obtain most triple S heroes. And that's going to be within my tip number 5, but we'll get to that. You only want to use your gene hybrids on these triple S heroes. So when I go to my evolve, if you see here, I can take Bailey Hudson up one more time because I have an extra copy of him. But I cannot tell you how important this is. I'm not going to use this copy of him to level him, because I'm going to save all of these for gene hybrids, which is why you see that I have multiple copies of some of these just sitting around. Let me scroll a bit. So yeah, I have a bunch of triple S heroes just chilling, multiples of some of them, and I could just plug them in and use these copies to evolve them. But it's going to get to a point eventually whenever you are at this stage and you need 2 copies of every hero to be able to advance them again. And it is hard to come by lots and lots of copies of these triple S heroes. You can typically get 1 or 2 pretty easily, but to get that many more copies, it's quite a bit, to be honest. So use your gene hybrids only on your triple S heroes, but don't use your triple S heroes here. Make sure you use gene hybrids and save these triple S copies until you get to the point where you can't use gene hybrids anymore. And that comes whenever you're at this tier. And then you're going to need only copies of them to be able to level them up again. So save your copies and use your gene hybrids very selectively. And lastly, tip number 5, that's actually going to be over the events and making sure that you're doing the right things and making the right steps to get the most out of them to really be beneficial. So I'm going to show the Rise of Heroes quickly. This is actually one of my favorite events. I love this event. And unfortunately, again, I've made many mistakes to figure this out. But I want to go to the raffle shop, which I'll show you here. This is what's important. The raffle shop, you get to a point, and it's at round 6 of the prize pool. You can see up here what level I'm currently on, which is 7. But at 6, you start getting gene hybrid shards. Now, you need 60 of them to be able to make a gene hybrid. But what I need to actually stress a lot is whenever you get the jackpot, you need to immediately go ahead and reset your prize pool, which is right here. And I actually had been waiting around and not doing that whenever I got the Mega Jackpot, which is, it has Kane right now as the hero, but it changes every time it comes out with a new hero typically. And I kept spinning and using all my raffle tickets until I would get all of the shards or the other things that I wanted in that prize pool. Don't get me wrong, if you're going for shards, that's great. But if you're really needing gene hybrids because they really are very important, then every time you get this mega jackpot, you need to reset the prize pool to go up around. That way, you can start collecting these gene hybrid shards. Now, whenever you get to the shards, after you've gotten the majority of the shards plus the mega jackpot here, which is the hero, you need to refresh because this is how you're going to farm to get even more of those hybrids to be able to use on your Triple S heroes, which are going to take you even farther throughout the game. I hope that you enjoyed everything so far and it was easy to understand. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll definitely make sure to get back to you. Also, if you're a new player looking for advice or an experienced player willing to give advice, join my growing Discord community. I'll leave the link for that in the description below. And the last thing I want to mention is I will be doing a live stream on November 9th and November 10th whenever the game releases globally. I'll be streaming at the same time on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I will have a ton of things to give away to all of my live viewers. I won't be able to give them away after my lives, so please don't make me waste any of these awesome gifts that I have to give out and join me live. Thanks for watching. Once again, I'm the Mad Queen, and I'll catch you in the next video.